Who's actually going to get the most out of a 3000 VA rack mount UPS, and who can safely walk away? If you run a small server room, a home lab, or a serious audio-video setup, a unit this size can be a lifesaver. If you're just looking for a plug-in surge strip for a desktop, you're probably better off spending that money on a better power strip. And is the price justified for a typical homeowner who only needs to protect a couple of PCs? Let's break it down. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have with any high-capacity UPS is whether they'll actually need the extra wattage. A 3000W rating sounds impressive, but the real question is how long that power will hold you up when the grid goes out. The CyberPower PR3000RT2U is designed to keep a handful of servers or workstations running for roughly 5 to 10 minutes under a typical load of 1500 W. That's enough time to save your work, shut down gracefully, or switch to a generator. If you're only protecting a single desktop and a monitor, you'll probably never tap into that runtime, and you'll be paying for capacity you'll never use. The practical strengths of this unit show up when you look at the daily routine of a small business IT manager. The 9 outlets, 8 NEMA 520R and 1 L530R mean you can plug in a mix of equipment, a rack mount server, a network switch, a NAS, and even a UPS-compatible router. The L530R is a nice touch for those who need a higher current device, like a compact UPS that feeds a modem or a PO injector. The rotating, tiltable LCD panel is more than a novelty. It lets you switch between battery status, input voltage, load percentage, and estimated runtime without crawling under a rack. In a cramped server cupboard, being able to see the information from any angle can save you a lot of awkward twisting. Automatic voltage regulation, AVR, is another practical advantage. In areas with frequent brownouts, think of a suburban home with an aging utility line, or a small office in a developing market. The AVR smooths out dips before the battery even kicks in. That reduces the number of battery cycles, which translates to a longer overall lifespan. For people who have already dealt with equipment that flickers on voltage sag, the PR3000RT2U's ability to keep the output steady can feel like a silent guardian. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The unit is a 2U rack mount model, which means you either need a rack, or you have to sacrifice some desk space if you want to use it as a tower. The footprint is larger than a typical tower UPS, so it's not a great fit for a cluttered home office desk. Also, the UPS relies on a fairly heavy internal battery pack. The whole thing weighs over 70 pounds. Moving it, even once, will require at least 2 people. That weight contributes to its stability when the fans run, but it also makes placement a bit of a logistical puzzle. Battery runtime is another place where expectations meet reality. The advertised runtime of 5 to 10 minutes at 1500 W translates to roughly 20 to 30 minutes at 500 W, which is a more realistic scenario for a workstation plus a monitor and a couple of peripherals. If you're hoping for an hour of backup on a full load, you'll be disappointed. That said, the unit comes with a 3-year warranty that even covers the batteries, a rare promise in this segment. For an organization that values predictability, that warranty can offset the upfront cost by reducing the risk of having to replace the battery pack in a few years. Who should definitely consider buying this UPS? Small to medium business owners who run a few rack mount servers, a network switch, and perhaps a small storage array will find the blend of capacity, AVR, and multiple outlet types spot on. Home-based content creators who stream, edit video, and run a home lab, especially those who've already invested in a UPS-compatible generator, will also benefit from the extra runtime and the ability to monitor everything from a single LCD. If you're already using a rack, the 2U form factor fits neatly without adding extra height. Who should skip it? Anyone whose power protection needs are limited to a single PC and a monitor, or who lives in a region with very stable grid power, will find the price a bit steep. Also, if you don't have a rack or a dedicated space for a 2U appliance, you'll end up with a clunky tower that takes up precious floor real estate. For those users, a simpler 1000 VA tower UPS, with a few outlets, would perform the same job at a fraction of the cost. From a value for money standpoint, the unit's $800-ish price tag makes sense when you factor in the $400,000 equipment protection guarantee. That guarantee is essentially an insurance policy. If something goes wrong and your hardware gets damaged while connected to this UPS, CyberPower will cover it up to that amount. For a small business with a handful of $10, $20K devices, that coverage